Now, pressure seems like it has mounted on Super Eagles of Nigeria after that team, after they played out a 1-0 draw against Bafana of South Africa in the third round of the 2026 World Cup qualifier. Now, the result means that Nigeria will now be placed fifth in a table of 6 teams after 3 matches in the 10-match competition. It means Nigeria has 7 more matches to go to seal qualification for the World Cup. So Nigeria, in 3 matches, has drawn all 3. Now, the group winners will qualify for 2026 World Cup in Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Who doesn't want to go for this World Cup? Now, 4 best-ranked runners-up will go into playoffs, and the winners will enter an intercontinental tournament where 6 nations will compete for 2 places. It looks like a tall order for any team that finds themselves in that position. Well, we've got the media officer of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Promise Efoghe, joining us this morning to speak on what went down yesterday. Good morning, Promise, and congratulations on your role as the media officer of the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Odoka. Thank you for the congratulatory message. And yesterday, the results didn't go the way we wanted it to go. But then that's football, you know. Like Finidi will often say, there are always 3 results in football. You win, you draw, or you lose. A draw last night was better than a loss. And you take a look at the table, it's still very open. The differential between the first and where Nigeria lie on the table is just 2 points. That can be cancelled, you know. So the boys are hopeful. Yes, the game didn't go the way they wanted to, but you would agree with me that they had a decent outing, especially in the second half. Perhaps you want to say the boys were very much unlucky on the night. On the balance of play, on the overall, I thought they were the better side on the day. And a little wonder the South African coach, after 90 minutes, was celebrating, Luka.
True, of course. It is worth celebrating because yesterday I had a guest from South Africa, Sia. He said that game, the best result for South Africa would be a draw because he knows the kind of football stars that Nigeria possesses, and also knowing that they're playing on home ground, so a draw will be a perfect result, and that's one of the reasons why I'm sure Hugo Bruce had to celebrate that one yesterday. But let's talk about the boys now. What is the feeling in camp?
Well, it's natural. It's natural when you don't get what you want. Prior to the game, expectations were high. The boys were in high spirit. The ride to the stadium was fun. You know, the boys were singing, drumming, hitting the boss, praising, singing worship songs. You know, they were excited. You know, they knew that it was a game that Nigerians wanted to see, a game Nigerians were looking forward to. It was George Finidi's first official game in charge of the Super Eagles. They were determined to give him a very good result. The sport minister was in camp yesterday afternoon to admonish the boys, to speak with them, to lift their spirits, and give them the charge from the presidency, letting them know that the number 1 man in Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu, will be watching the game and will be supporting them from the presidential villa. And they told the minister to go and relax. They told the minister to sit back, watch the game and enjoy the game, because they were very confident that 3 points would be in the bag. Unfortunately, the game didn't start the way they would have wanted it to start. The boys started a bit slowly. They garnered momentum along the way, and in the second half, a lot of persons have said if they had played the way they played in the second half, in the first half, perhaps the result would have been different. But this is football, you know. What is most important is that we did not lose that game. We came back very strong. We were on the verge of winning. We had so many scoring chances. I think the boys were very unlucky. Look at the Samuel Chukwueze incident that hit the crossbar. We had that conversation on our ride back to the hotel. And the conversation was, if there was VAR at the stadium, that incident could have been checked over and over again to be sure that the ball did not cross the line. There was a penalty, appeal that was turned down. There was no VAR to have a second look at those incidences, And goalkeeper Rowan for South Africa was the hero for the South Africans. Look at that crucial save he made off the boots of Ademola Lookman. So the boys will take positives from the fact that they had a very good outing in the second half. Football is a game of two halves. It doesn't matter how you start, how you end is what matters. They came out very strong in the second half to win the game, and they were on the verge of doing so, but were very much unlucky. But they live to fight another day. There is another game coming up in a few days from now, and they have told themselves that they would spring up and get the right result away to Benin Republic.
All right, and a lot of football fans are already talking about pressure on Coach Finidi George and the Super Eagles of Nigeria, but I think it is still early days. But let's talk about the game between Nigeria and Benin now. When will the team likely leave for Cote d'Ivoire ahead of that game?
Well, the team will depart Nigeria tomorrow, Sunday. The game is on Monday, the 10th of, the 11th of June. And so the team will depart tomorrow, Sunday. They have a training session this evening. They would have a light warm-up in the morning tomorrow before departing for Cote d'Ivoire, where they will have a single training session at the pitch where the game will be played on Monday evening.
All right. And is there any injury reports from camp?
Yes, we saw that Fisayo Dele Bashiru had to leave the game injured yesterday. The doctors, I spoke with one of the doctors this morning, and he said they would have an assessment of the player today to know the extent of the injury. But it doesn't seem like it will be anything very serious. Semi Ajayi also had a slight knock, which informed his substitution in the second half of the game. The doctors are assessing these players, and I do not think it's anything to worry about.
All right, so we look forward to an amazing game and a victory for the Super Eagles of Nigeria against Benin Republic. Thank you very much, Promise, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for your time.